Thanks once again for joining us for your weekly update from the city of New Hope. Let's chat with the Mayor, John Elder, to find out what's coming up in the city and what you might want to get on your calendar. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
Fantastic. Dave, how are you?
I am very good. We're
Good.
recording on Monday, October 20th, and there is a full agenda at the City Hall tonight for a work session of the City Council. Mayor, you wanted to highlight some of the key points that are coming up. It's a full agenda, but four big highlights that you wanted to mention. Take us through some of those things, and a couple I know are annual things that happen.
Yeah, starting out with the Hennepin Recycling Group, they'll be here to talk to us about recycling, the costs, the plans, really how it's going in our community. New Hope has historically had a very high um, participation rate in recycling.
Mhm.
Our organics, not so much, but we're not seeing many of the cities really excel at that. However, our recycling is upper 80s to lower 90s in the percentile of participation. That's huge.
Mhm.
And so we'll be getting the rates for next year, and that'll be figured into the budget.
Next item is West Metro Fire Rescue District. Again, another annual event where they make a presentation to the council in a work session.
Yeah, and they do one annual real big update. However, the chief of the West Metro Fire is in front of the council probably 5 times a year.
Okay.
What he's going to be doing is going to be going over the budgeting for next year, what we're going to be doing with our trucks, because there's going to be some replacement of trucks coming up, and whether or not we will be engaging in leasing or purchasing. And it's important for him to be there to get the entire council up to speed, because the entire council does not sit on the West Metro Board of Directors.
Sure.
We
Mhm.
so it's great to get these updates from them.
Next update at the work session will be about the PUPS facility. We've been talking about this the past couple of weeks. Again, remind us what that is and what will be talked about tonight.
You bet. PUPS stands for Pets Under Police Supervision, and that it's basically our animal impound. When we get an animal that we cannot identify through a chip, a collar, a tag, whatever, and we can't locate its owner, we then will impound the animal at PUPS. That's in Maple Grove. Now, there were 8 cities involved in PUPS up to this point, and because of that, and some of the cities' really high usage of it, we were running into challenges where uh, they were storing animals in kennels, in offices, in bathrooms. I mean, they just were trying to find extra space. So we knew that the entire system needed a very strong overhaul. And we saw a great deal of animals over the last few years that had been abandoned because they were purchased during COVID, and then people just didn't have the ability to continue to take care of them, either the ability or the desire.
Sure.
And offloading an animal is difficult, and so they were just releasing them. And so uh, they weren't picking them up at the impound when they were found. And so that was a real challenge. So we came up with a tear down and rebuilding of the PUPS facility and what that cost was going to be for each of the cities.
Mhm.
4 of the cities have backed out, so that leaves 4 cities left. And because of that, we don't need to do a tear down. We just need to do a hefty remodel. And so, based off of usage of the facility, we had our amount broken down for what we were going to need. And so I need to pay for this.
Mhm.
So we are moving forward with that. We have been with PUP since the 90s, and we were one of the founding members of it. And so 4 cities left. We're going to get this done, and it's going to add a good deal of space to take care of our needs moving forward for another 20, 30, 40 years.
All right, more to come on that as it moves through the process. Final item you wanted to touch on, and again, this is from the work session for the council on the 20th of October. A little education here. Project Efficiency and Transparency Report. What is that? How is that useful for the city council, but also for residents?
Yeah, it's super important for residents because at the council, we get a breakdown of this. And it's important for residents to understand what each of these projects are costing us. And we get an engineer's estimate for any project on the front end. And then at the end, there's a final bill. And what this does is this shows what the costs were or what amount of money went into each section of this project and how or why we came in under budget or over budget. We've been budgeting for our roads and say we have a $4.4 million road project that's planned. And then at the end, we find out we've only spent 3.9 million.
Mhm.
And why is that? Well, when we're doing the bidding, or not the bidding, but the estimating on the front end, that can be 18 to 24 months in advance.
Sure.
And if we're doing the bid at the right time and there are companies that are hungry for work in the business,
Right.
they may bid lower. Some of the costs may, especially the cost of oil, if that's down and we're able to lock in at a good price, we can save $500,000 on a project. It also goes the other way.
Yes,
So,
unfortunately.
yeah, and so we want to be as transparent with people as we can be, so people understand where their money's going, because these are big dollar projects, and so it's not only important for the council to have this. I think it's important for our residents to have access to this.
Mhm.
So again, it's about being transparent.
Location to find that is, of course, on the city's website, newhopemn.gov. You see that address down at the bottom of the screen, so you can look for that information there. Also, agendas for this meeting that is, again, coming up on the 20th as we record this evening. That is the council work session. So that's one big thing for this week. There are two other big things that happen back to back coming up on Thursday, the 23rd. Again, give us a quick preview of why people should stop by City Hall this Thursday.
Well, this Thursday we have City Day from 5 to 7 p.m. And then from 7 to 8 p.m., we have Trunk or Treat in the parking lot where we will have on display a number of public works vehicles, police cars, and fire apparatus. So there's also going to be trick or treating there. So that'll be a lot
Mhm.
of fun. Uh, but from 5 to 7 is the city day, where inside City Hall we will have um, a booth for every single division in the city. So people can come in and meet with the different divisions throughout the city,
Mhm.
and they will be able to ask questions, learn more about how the city operates, what each of the different divisions does. It's really how your city works.
Mhm.
Another thing that they're doing is they give you a small cup with kidney beans in them,
Right.
and you can, in each of the divisions in the city has a jar, and you can determine where you want your tax money to go to, because each of those beans represents a portion of your taxes. And it's interesting for people to see they have a limited number of beans and they have to decide what's most important. And,
Yeah.
we get a lot in the public safety because everyone wants a black and white car to show up when they call 911, or a big black shiny truck.
Mhm.
So that's, people, but then people also want their toilets to flush when they hit the
Right.
button, and they want quality roads. So all of this stuff, it really helps people see the difficulties of running a city on a budget.
Very true. All right. That is coming up this Thursday, the 23rd. Make sure you stop by 5 to 7, the City Day festivities, and then 7 to 8, get ready to walk around and get some candy, kids. Community development update, a number of things to touch on here. We begin with cannabis. There's been some discussion, I understand, at the Planning Commission meeting. What has happened there and where does it go now?
The Planning Commission went over a text amendment on October 7th at their meeting and recommended approval unanimously um, to keep our zoning regulations as they are. That means we can't have a recreational cannabis shop within X number of feet of a residential daycare, of a school, of a city park, things like that. A much broader amendment will be coming to the council for review at the November 10th city council meeting, and there will be a public hearing at that. So appreciate the Planning Commission's work on this. They did an incredible amount of work looking into this. So hats off to them.
Next up in community development, a fun event that everyone's going to want to be at this coming Saturday. A business is having their grand opening, but they've been around a little while, so the word is already out. But what's happening on Saturday?
Absolutely. Cullen's Ice Cream, which is located in the old Pocket Square building, the 7530 42nd Avenue North, right across the street from Pub 42. They're having their ribbon cutting grand opening on Saturday, October 25th at 3 o'clock. And I have it on good authority. They're going to be giving out free samples.
Yes.
Incredible ice cream.
Yeah.
Great business to have in our city. We are ecstatic to have them here.
Yeah, stop by and have some fun there. Let's go to scattered site housing, a couple properties to update you on. The first two are far along in the process. In fact, here's a couple pictures of how far along, what's happening here.
4220 and 4222 Nevada. There's the sod, trees and landscaping and underground irrigation has been installed at both properties. This is moving right along. These are listed for around $580,000 each. And that came off of a property that had a home that was valued at just over $200,000. So we look at what this does for the tax rolls over the long run. Two homes at about 580. That's fantastic.
On the other end of the spectrum in scattered site, one that's just getting onto the process, that is 4632 Flag Avenue. Tell us about where this house is in its process.
Yep, we purchased the home on October 16th with traditional closing costs paid by each party. And we have now mailed out a development update to property owners within 500 feet. And it's also posted on the city's website. Staff is preparing for a demolition of the property.
Building permit coming in, a new business coming to town. Give us an update on what the Planning Commission has been working with up on Bass Lake Road.
Yep, there's been a pretty large scale interior remodeling for a new smoke shop that has all set for the business use of the BUCO. It's a business use of certificate. And that will be issued to them once they get a tobacco license. So we'll have a smoke shop in town, and that's something that's a little different that we see in other communities. So it'll be good.
Let's hop over to the police department. A couple updates here real quickly. First, the incident report related to the last week. What were the numbers? What have you seen?
Yep, numbers are down. Between October 9th and the 15th, we had 418 police-related incidents. That's, again, pretty status quo. That's really where we expect the numbers to be at. Officers remain vigilant and out on patrol. They're able to handle their calls while still doing a healthy dose of community engagement.
And we want to pass along an officer spotlight, and this is going to be a little learning as well, something called the flock camera. So tell us what that is and how that helped out in a officer spotlight.
Yeah, we have flock cameras throughout the city, and what it does is it looks at every license plate that drives by it. And while it does that, if a vehicle comes back stolen or there's a COPS alert. A COPS is a keeping our police safe alert. That would be somebody who the police are looking for as far as maybe they're suicidal and have taken off from another community in the state. Again, if the vehicle's stolen, it automatically notifies the police department, the
Mhm.
officers out on the street. Officers know where that vehicle was at and at what time.
Sure.
It takes a photo of the vehicle's license plate, so the officer knows exactly what they're looking for. Well, we had this happen last week, and the vehicle alerted, or the flock camera alerted on a vehicle connected to an ongoing robbery investigation out of Brooklyn Center. The officer quickly got to the area, located the vehicle in a parking lot, conducted a traffic stop, and detained the occupants until additional units arrived. As a result of his officer Fitzsimmons' uh, fast response and effective coordination with other officers, a wanted robbery suspect was located inside the vehicle and taken into custody without incident. This really highlights the importance of the flock cameras. Um, our neighboring cities have them. We have access to each other's information. If we're looking for a vehicle, it can help us locate it.
Mhm. All right, let's head to Public Works, and we want to just spend a moment here and talk about a lot of the ongoing things that happen that make the city tick. And this is an amazing list of what goes on kind of behind the scenes, if you will.
You know, we I often refer to our public works people as our unsung heroes.
Mhm.
These are the people that are out doing things that we don't see, or if we do see it, we don't pay much attention to it. And the funny thing is we would know if they weren't doing it
Yes.
because these things are imperative to have a decent run and looking city. Things such as mowing, field grading, street sweeping. They're doing the water meter installation, which we'll talk about the numbers in a bit here.
Mhm.
Um, Sign maintenance, park trail sweeping, boulevard tree removals, pre-season plow truck preparation,
Okay.
and installation projects like the one we have going on at Lions Park. This is an incredibly hardworking group of individuals,
Mhm.
and we so appreciate them.
Let's move to Park and Rec. A few things to touch on here. The first is a recap of something happened the Saturday before. We had been talking about so many puzzles coming to City Hall, and I understand the exchange happened. How did it go?
It was remarkable. We held the puzzle exchange program with almost 500 puzzles available. We now have the other puzzles that didn't go out, and the ones that came in for in a storage area for the next exchange that's going to take place in February. We may end up doing this more frequently.
Yeah, how about the response? That's fantastic. Also, a lot of
Yeah.
people waiting through Park and Rec for the next brochures. And so they want to get planned out what they're going to do with their families and their kids coming up here for not only winter, but spring. How's that coming along?
You know, they're working on their final edits right now, and the Parks and Rec department does so much intragenerational work, and they have so many events for all ages. They do an incredible job. They're putting the final touches on this brochure, and it will be going out to all residents here in the near future.
We often talk about grants within Park and Rec and within many areas of the cities, specifically here in Park and Rec. They're working on some grant paperwork. Why is this important and what are they doing?
Well, with every grant we get, we have to explain on the front end why we need it and what we'll use it for.
Mhm.
And then at the end, we actually have to show that we did the work
Sure.
and that we've earned that money. So what we're doing is we're doing the grant paperwork to show that we in fact have utilized the money effectively and responsibly, and we will be reimbursed $100,000 from the U.S. Forest Service for our work on the Emerald Ash Borer. It is amazing the amount of grant money that the city of New Hope gets because they work so hard at finding grants and writing good grants to receive the money.
Mhm. Final note from Park and Rec. Let's head to the golf course. Still opportunities to get out there as the weather hangs in there. And also
Yeah,
a fun note here of something new you'll see at the golf course that was a neat little project.
yeah, the golf course remains open for as long as feasible, and our course continues to look great. They continue to keep it mowed, as many of the leaves picked up as possible with
Yeah.
these winds that we've been having lately. That could be a 24-hour-a-day job.
Yes.
We also had the installation of two pads using pavers on the second tees, on the second tee for benches and trash receptacles. And that would seem like just kind of a do nothing thing, except the really cool thing about this is this was a joint project between an Eagle Scout,
Wow.
person going for their Eagle Scout, and the city of New Hope. And the Eagle Scout raised the funding to do it, handled the installation, along with our New Hope staff there. And it's there. It looks great. And we were honored to be a small part of that individual receiving their Eagle Scout.
All right. So get out and use the last couple warm days here to golf and take a look for the Eagle Scout project out there. Let's go to finance. A quick update here. You mentioned the water meters. How are we doing on that process?
We have 3,190 yet to replace, and we have already replaced 2,624. So we're close to halfway there. Really, our plea is that if you get a letter or email from the city, please make sure you get your appointment scheduled. It took 10 minutes when they came to my house. They zipped in, they zipped out. It was easily done.
Two final notes to pass along in our update in communications. The first is related to something fun for the mayor and other mayors around the area. What is happening? And this is through a statewide organization that's doing this.
Yep, the League of Minnesota Cities is hosting a Mayor for a Day essay contest, and they will select one person from each city or community to be mayor for a day. And when they called me and asked if I wanted to participate in this, I couldn't have said yes faster. This is an incredible opportunity for a youth who's interested in civics and to actually get to come out with me as a mayor for a day and really find out what it is that the mayor does.
All right, more information through the city's website, newhopemn.gov, and they'll connect you with the league where you can find that information. Final, just to pass along here, a big thank you to residents for participating in a recent survey. And you want to tell us that the staff and council is busy looking through those surveys right now.
Absolutely. The city services survey wrapped up on October 1st, and staff is continuing to aggregate results and follow up with residents who requested contact. The response to this was large, and it really helps provide myself and my council with information on what people want to see in the city. So thank you so much to all who partook in that.
All right, more information as that becomes available, we'll pass along here through the updates. That's it for this week. And again, a reminder, in just a second, you'll see a little more information about the City Day event and also the trunk or treat. So make sure you get out and have some fun with that. Mayor, thanks for your time today. Have a great week. We'll talk to you again next Monday.
Dave, thank you so much. Be well.
For more city stories, check out ccxmedia.org or find us on social media.